passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
Hello and welcome, Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman, I'm Jarid Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Sorry that we missed you last week. We had a few issues, mainly on my end, technical issues, but we're back on track. Sadly, not the same for the Browns. They're 1-2 now after losing to the Rams. And in fact, I'll be honest with you, I'm glad that we didn't do a show after that loss because I like to go dark on all sports-related talk after a Browns loss. I don't, it's not that I get depressed, but that's just where I go. I don't want to talk about it. I want to ride it out until the next game, and then I'll feel motivated again. So here we are, coming in here before they take on the Ravens in Baltimore, right up the street from me, the Ratbirds. When will the Browns figure out this offense, though? Or is it here we go again? We've seen this before. Where's Baker's accuracy been? That's something that's been of concern. What happened to Freddie Kitchens' play calling magic? We're all waiting. Is it panic time yet in Berea? Hayden Grove's going to join us as well. We'll talk Browns with us too. And the Tribe enters their final weekend. Man, what a bummer. Needing a lot of hope and that Believe Land magic. The Tribe is slumped before heading to D.C. They're playing right now at the time that we're recording this, actually. Tied it up 2-2. So we'll see what happens as this game goes on. Andy might flip his shit while we're doing the recording. But they lost 2-3 to Chicago. And you know what? The Rays just... screw that. The Yankees failed us. Let's just say it like it is. The Yankees failed us. Buckeyes, well, they keep rolling, so I'm happy. The Irish almost pulled out a win in Athens against Georgia, so that probably makes Andy kind of happy considering all things. He just didn't want to blow out. But first, we're going to talk Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
So after the first two games in the 1-1, we all kind of felt like that was a nice bounce back win against the Jets. Mm-hmm. We didn't get to get into it, but, it wasn't pretty. But, when you see Odell Beckham scoring and you see Myles Garrett sacking the quarterback, you kind of feel good. Leading up to a great weekend with Clay Matthews, and you go into the Sunday night performance. Very high ratings, by the way. Ratings were very, very good.
Led by Northeast Ohio.
Northeast Ohio, and they in Columbus.
Yeah.
The second biggest market was Columbus. So really, really big. But again, 1-1, but no explosiveness. And you're kind of just hoping, as a Browns standpoint, maybe this will be the week. And against a very good Rams defense, the Browns just, again, even though they're banged up, we'll get into that, just still don't look right. The penalties are mounting, questionable play calling, a lack of confidence from Baker, as Jared alluded to in the open. And, this is something that I brought up last year, and I hammered it home. I don't like losses, and I don't think losses are teaching moments. And I heard from everyone. I was on the island. The Ravens is not such a bad thing. Losses will teach you things. And there you have Baker Mayfield in the 4-yard line with 4 chances to win the game, and the Browns don't pull it out. And that is very, very frustrating. And that's why last year that Ravens loss was bad, and it's still bad, and it didn't carry. And that shit never carries. And I learned that in sports a long time ago. I will probably hit that throughout the whole show today, but that's why that loss always bothered me. And going back to Sunday, they played hard. They did a nice job of
pissed it away
on
Andy,
defense.
To be completely honest with you, just to wrap it, they pissed it away.
I'll make one more point.
That was in their hands for a while. It was a game that would have taken 1 or 2 bust out plays. Which stop. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? This was a game that was in their hands.
But how many, and right to your point, Jared, but the thing I'm tired about, and the Browns are starting to do this already. Well, that was a nice loss. There is no such thing as a nice loss. Yeah. A loss is a loss. And it's starting to happen a little too much for my comfort. Not on the team, but
technically, Andy, it's only happened twice. We're okay.
No. This started last year.
And it's
we're gonna do a nice job. No. This crap needs to stop. I don't want any more nice losses.
Yeah,
And
I don't
either.
I don't either.
I'm just tired. I just want to get that off my chest. I'm tired of, oh, we tried, but look, we came so close. No, this team has the talent to do things. Time to do some things.
Yeah, do the damn.
Now let's start with the big topic of Freddie and Baker.
Yeah.
Baker's numbers were okay. I think sometimes we need a polarizing answer in sports or in whatever the topic is of the day, especially in politics or sports. Baker didn't play horrible. He's not overrated, but he didn't play good either. He had a couple moments. Anything that was short, Jared, great. Bing, bing, bing. But anything that was long, he had a couple moments here and there. But Jared, and it's something that I do want to talk to you about. This pocket thing and his comfortability in the pocket is really shocking.
Feels strange. It doesn't feel like him. He looks tight. He looks tight, which makes me wonder this is what, and you'll hear, we'll get into it more with Hayden, but this is where I wonder, is the issue really the line? Because he seems to get plenty of time, 3.5 seconds. And the problem is when he's not getting rid of the ball, it was said throughout the entire game, if he gets rid of the ball 2.5 seconds, he's probably 18 for 20, 18 for 24, 18 for 25, right? He's 18 for 36 because those other ones, he's waiting 3.5 seconds, pockets collapsing around him. He's scrambling for no reason. I don't know, Andy. And this is why I also question, like, why aren't they rolling out a little bit more? Why aren't they hitting the edge a little bit more? Why is everything in the middle? I don't understand why they're not playing. And this is where I wonder, and we've talked about this. Freddie's taking all the blame for everything. Freddie's he's taking responsibility for it all. We believe that he's the one calling this offense. I don't know how much Monken's influence is having on this offense, but there's got to be something, because this just does not look like Freddie and Baker from last year. It just doesn't.
All right, let's put Baker to a side for a second. Let's go down the Monken trail. Yeah. A comment that you and I talked about over the summer that we kind of flucked away, I'm now going to bring to the forefront. There was rumors in late spring that Monken and Freddie were having a hard time getting on the same page. And you and I said the same thing. That's okay in the late spring, but as we get into the summer and we get into the fall, we hope that goes away. Yeah. I'm actually, in fairness, going to bring that comment now back up to the forefront, because I do think it's happening. I don't think it's loud. I don't think they're screaming and arguing. I don't think it's Todd Haley and Hugh Jackson. But I know where you're going with this. Well, it's hard to get a real gauge.
Air raid.
There's no raid.
There's no raid. No raid. Ant spray. It's bug spray. That's it.
And I'll be honest with you. I could have
done better with that joke, by the way. I apologize.
It's Friday. It's been a long week. Oh. The one thing I will give to what you're alluding to. Everything deep has been hold your breath. Last year was hold your breath with excitement. This year it's hold your breath of, I'm not sure how this is going to end up. And that is such a jarring, that's the big thing that I've noticed that's way off about Baker and his offense. Anything that's short to what you're alluding to, and by the way, I usually don't like stats like that, but I think that stat really does play a key role in this offense right now. If it's quick and it's hard hitting and it's short, Jared, bam, Browns got it, first down. Bam, 4 yards, 5 yards. The Browns have got that play called down. But anything down past 15 yards, Jared, it's an adventure. And it seems like the Browns are really not comfortable with that. And what's unusual is last year, that's where Baker and those guys thrived. How many times, whether it was the Bengals game, the Falcons game, would he put touch on the ball, the Panthers throw for Landry, just touching on the ball, it'd be so perfect. I've seen nothing like, not even close to that. Even when they've completed passes downfield, Jared, nothing's been crisp. Nothing. It's very, very, very weird. The way
that Baker goes through his reads, you would think that there's nowhere for him to put the ball, and that just doesn't make sense to me. Or is it really the impact of not having a solid number, having Ratley as your 3 right now? Is that really the impact?
Showing up, and Njoku, and by the way,
having a tight end,
and not having a tight end has been a big thing. And I think the other thing
fullback,
not having a full. Not having a fullback.
I didn't even think that just popped into my head too.
No fullback. Okay, let's get to it. All that to be said, the defense, which we are going to get to, the defense played really well in this game. Okay.
Yep.
They had chances at the 4-yard line to win this goddamn game.
How many takeaways they get? 2, 3?
3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So you had the ball on the
bitch.
They had the ball, the 4-yard line, chance to tie the game. And for the first time all year, inside the 5, the Browns are the only team this year. Think about this, folks. They're the only time this year that they did not run one running play inside the 5. And the Browns did it 4 straight times. They had no running back. They ran empty formations 4 times, just Baker. We can sit there. You want to break down 4th and 9, that handoff, which we'll talk about. That's fine. That, to me, is the biggest fucking problem, Jared. How do you, on the 4-yard line with 3 timeouts, not give the ball once to Chubb?
With Nick
or
Chubb.
Twice.
Or 3 times.
Or 3 times.
I'm serious.
You don't
I'm
even
dead
fucking
serious.
show him off. It's Reggie Bush bad when you don't put him in a game USC Texas. It's bad on the Super Bowl when you don't hand the ball off to Lynch.
Yep.
That's how bad a mistake this is.
Yeah.
He's a rookie coach. I like Freddie. You can't fire him. You can't trade. No.
We're nowhere near that. Even if they have a shit season, I don't think you get rid of anybody.
No, that's why I brought it up. But that was a huge mistake.
I really feel
that was a huge mistake. My 9-year-old son said, first thing he said, Dad, why didn't they hand the ball off to Chubb? I'm not exaggerating. My 13-year-old kid. We talked about at school, Dad, why didn't they hand off the ball to Chubb? That can't happen anymore this season. It's inexcusable.
When they ask you that question.
You know what I do? We talk like we're talking right now, and we get.
Don't ask me that. I don't know the answer.
Stupid fucking shit. I mean, it's just like you just shake your head. And I like Freddie. And I think Freddie's learning, but that was not a bad mistake. That was a landmark, huge mistake. Again, inside the 5. Now, one team didn't feature a running back all year. The Browns did it 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? You want to bring it full circle? Let's do the more play calling.
Didn't we say don't be cute?
Don't be
cute.
This is the old Hugh Jackson line, and I'm sorry. I'm seeing this in Freddie. Don't be too smart for your own good. Sometimes you just need to hand the ball off. And I'll tell you another example of play calling gone wrong. A big play in this game is when Myles Garrett stripped and Schobert, who played well again. Schobert's playing so well right now. Schobert picked up the fumble, got some momentum. Here we go. Getting ready to go into halftime. 1st and 10, right around the 20-yard line. Browns throw it away. Browns have to call timeout. 2nd and 10, horrible play. 3rd and 10, they have to call a timeout because they're discombobulated, and then Mayfield has a pass knockdown. This is the kind of stuff, Jared, when you get a turnover and you're around the 20 and you got a chance to punch it in and get a touchdown, you can't even run a smooth play. The Browns can't even run something on offense. It's alarming right now at times. Not throughout the whole game, but that moment at the end of the game, that moment at the end of the second quarter, sorry. You have got to run better plays than that. And it goes back to what you said. What the hell's going on with the Monken and Freddie offense? And by the way, Freddie has claimed again on Tuesday, he's calling the plays and he doesn't want to hear about it.
It's one thing that I'll say up front. I didn't get a chance to ask Hayden, and we're going to talk to him about that at some point throughout. I'll ask him this weekend because he did hint in our conversation when you hear it. I don't know whether he hinted it to us offline or whether it's in the conversation, but that there is some aspect of Monken's influence there, and I didn't delve into it, but we'll see.
But certainly, but my point is, Jared, Freddie has taken the onus. It's on him.
Yeah.
So it is on him. It is. And at some point, Jared, whether it's going to be this week in Baltimore, I'm hoping there's an aha moment. But that gets back to our beautiful, and I like him so much, Baker Mayfield. All that to be said, Jared, Baker does need to play better. And I'm not talking leaps and bounds better, but he's got to make more passes downfield. He's got to be more comfortable in the pocket. And that goes to my last point, which you alluded to. You know, Nick Chubb right now is the best player in offense. He's playing really well. He is. He is the best player in offense right now. He's not the most talented. He's not the most athletic, but he is the best player in offense right now. Anytime he gets the ball, you feel good. Anytime he's running, you feel good watching him. Even when he only gets short yards, you feel good.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the one thing that does worry me about this whole running game, and I don't blame him, there are no signs of Hilliard or Johnson getting any kind of carries.
Nope.
None. It's all Nick Chubb. And I'll tell you,
You're going to say it, aren't you? You're going to say it, aren't you?
You need Kareem Hunt. The countdown's on.
I thought you were going to bring up Duke, but okay. Same thing.
I had him next. By the way, guess what I had next?
Same thing.
Could use a little Duke Johnson, because Duke Johnson out of the backfield right now catching balls. That also is hurting Baker Mayfield, by the way. That trade, which I didn't love, which I did not love, and I'm not the biggest Duke Johnson fan, but that's why you take these weapons away and you keep playing this teeter-totter game of draft picks, and here you are.
Yeah, we're just thin there. Thin at tight end, thin there, and
Here's the other thing I've noticed about the Browns this year, 3 games in. When the Browns have successful running plays, they usually have long, sustained drives.
Yeah.
So when that running game's chugging, the Browns do really well. When the Browns don't get anything from the ground from Chubb, they go 3 and out usually. It's not even like a question. So Chubb is the offense right now. And so with that in mind, to what you said, Tony Grossi has barked it all year, and good for Tony. You need a fullback. You need to get, and by the way, I'm not in love with Hilliard or Johnson, but you got to get one of these guys in the game to help out. The Chubb's going to get banged up if you keep running him like this all year. The Browns have to start running the ball more and sustaining drives. When the running game is there, the Browns score. When they don't, it's 3. It's not even that they don't drive. It's 3 and out. Every time, Jared. Every time.
I know. It really comes down to there's nowhere else. You're talking about Landry and Beckham, and that's it. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what else to say.
I'll give you.
Although you got to be. At the same time, Baker makes people look good, and I don't understand what's going on with that now too.
He's off. He's got to play better.
Right.
He's not playing. Again, people love to give this black and white. He's bad. He's good. No. He's playing okay.
Right.
But the one thing that is evident, he is really struggling with throws downfield. And he really struggles holding on to the ball. And it's not. And by the way, that is clear. It's clear in stats. It's clear when you watch him play. And it's clear by how the team moves the ball. Anything beyond 15 yards it just doesn't feel smooth. Even when he does complete balls downfield, it doesn't feel smooth. The other thing that I was going to get to, which I'll go to now, the stars for Cleveland need to be stars. Chubb, Mayfield, and especially OBJ and Landry. OBJ is the only person so far who's felt like a star, and Chubb at times. If Chubb got the ball more, I think you'd feel that. But we need Baker to be a star. We need Landry to be a star. We need Beckham to be stars.
Yeah.
That's why you got players like this. They have got to play better. Beckham's the only one. And again, Chubb. I'd say Chubb and Beckham. Landry, got to play better. He's not playing poorly, but you got to play better. You got to take your game to a different level. And like I said, that's the same with Baker. Baker's not playing bad, but he's got to take that leap to that level that we saw last year.
Take advantage of the turnovers. You got to turn that into points. You got to not stall. But look, these field goals, lots of field goals, man. This Browns team, we've seen enough field goals over the past 19 years.
Very good point.
The field goals, man. We didn't have this red zone issue last year.
No. And by the way, great. I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah, what the hell has happened to we smell blood inside the 20?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, nothing.
You knew it was coming.
Again, the end of the second quarter and the end of the game was evident. The Browns don't have confidence scoring touchdowns right now. And by the way, when they did score a touchdown, they had taken away because of a procedure, and they're lucky they got that touchdown the way they did.
You ain't kidding.
The Browns right now, and I will say they are playing tight, and they have got to get over that. You know what? In this league, you can have a tight game. The Browns have got to relax.
They got to stop putting all this pressure on themselves.
Yes, relax. Got to relax.
As we yell at them, we need to relax.
Well, you got to. But by the way,
you need to relax so we can relax.
Hey, we do. It's true. It's true. But again, Jared, this is not a young team. This is a young team as an age, but these are, Beckham's been in the league for a while. Leander's been in the league for a while. Yeah, we got to play better. All right, let's get to the elephant in the room. These fucking penalties.
Well, I wanted to jump into that on the defensive side of the ball. As good as the defense played,
wonderful.
That secondary got eaten. That Cooper Kupp, man.
And what's that other guy's name? Cooks.
Yeah.
Cooks too. Cooks and Kupp did whatever they wanted.
What the hell?
Whatever they wanted.
And the secondary's going to be beat up this week.
Yeah. You should. Well, look, the thing I would say about the defense is, and this is the difference between the defense and the offense right now. The defense made up for it because they really technically kept. Well, it's not technically. They kept the Browns in the game.
They did. It
felt like that score should be 30-13. It was only 20.
No, it's like the first. It's like the first. How many games last season? How many takeaways do we have that we didn't convert on, and we would lose, and we'd lose the games? It was.
By the way,
it was.
I know people don't want to hear this.
A lot of Tyrod Taylor.
Feels a lot like Hugh Jackson right now on this team, and Hugh's gone, and it feels a lot like Hugh Jackson at times. And this gets to my bigger point here about the penalties. When you on the first drive have 3 penalties, and 2 are called and 2 are enforced, that is not good. That shit has to stop. These penalties you hold your breath after a big play. You're just looking for the flag. They are by far and away leading the league in penalties again.
The Odell penalty was on Baker.
It was on Baker.
Baker didn't let him set. Baker called him to move, and then Baker called for the ball. So
yes. And by the way, that's on Baker too. But again, time and again, Jared, these penalties are just killing the Browns. More so on this game on the offense. The Browns
and the Rams had their share of penalties too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but the Rams can overcome those mistakes.
No, exactly.
Right now, the Browns can't. And in fairness, the Browns can overcome some of them, but they can't overcome.
Think of the tone that you set on the first drive of the game.
I know. It's just
what are you doing? Like, it makes me want to just shut the TV off. And by the way, you get so fired up and excited for a game, and then you come out and you pull that shit, and you're just like, oh, here we go.
Okay, so Jared's point. So, does it get better in the later game?
Momentum killer.
Fourth quarter, 2-minute warning, second down. What happens? False start. I mean, guys, and you've got to stop this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, out of a 2-minute warning.
Batonio? That was Batonio too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Out of a 2-minute warning, false starts.
Yeah.
It happens throughout the game. Is my point. It happens after timeouts. It happens whenever. This shit has to be cleaned up, and that is on Freddie. That is on Freddie. He's got to get this cleaned up. We talked about the Titans, talked about the rhythm. They are definitely scattered with confidence, aside from Landry, which we'll get to in a second. The other thing I do want to talk about, which I know I do agree with Jared. I mean, the Kupp and Cooks, they did whatever they wanted to in this game. I thought that Wilkes did a great job of getting this team ready when it was Band-Aid and tape at times. Going into what they had in this game. Schobert, by the way, is playing like Schobert did the first half of the year again. He is having a wonderful start to the year. I thought Mac Wilson played well in this game. Myles Garrett was quiet, which I won't pick on him too much as he played great the week before. Didn't do much. I have no idea what's going on with Olivier Vernon. I've been so wrong about him. I would love for him to show up more. All that to be said, Ogunjobi could feel his presence during the game. He played well. And again, I really thought outside the Kupp and Cooks problems, the Browns did a nice job, and they did not allow that Rams running game to get crazy. And I thought that really kept him in the game. And again, Ogunjobi, good game. Schobert flying around the ball. Myles Garrett, he made some plays. Wasn't fantastic, but made some plays. And again, I really thought the Wilkes and that defense just did a tremendous job.
Yep.
They didn't stop the Rams, but they slowed them down enough where he had a chance, again, to tie the game in the 4-yard line. Can't ask for much more than that in that kind of game. They had chances to win. So I do want to give the defense kudos. I also do want to give kudos because we've been picking on this for the last podcast since we've been doing it. The field goal kicking, that kid from Oklahoma is making everything, and that's great. And he needs to keep doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It's great to see. And the special teams have improved 10 yards. I know the Irish Hammer had some moments, but still, He's a good punter.
The special teams. I can
come a long way.
I'm so glad. Look, all I wanted was for special teams to not be a problem, right? It's kind of like what it reminds me of is, anytime and just to go into my world for a minute, you produce a video and we always talk about, good audio is audio you don't notice, right?
Right. Now, by the way, well,
right? So special teams, decent special teams. We're not, if you don't notice it, that means there's no problem. I can live with that right now. I'll take it. Make the field goals. Good. We're good. We don't have to talk about it. Just keep making them.
So special teams doing their job. They weren't spectacular, but they did their job.
That's all right.
That's, by the way, that is right. So rolling into this week before we get to the Ravens stuff, the big comments on Monday were Rex Ryan saying that Baker Mayfield's overrated as hell. That goes back to my point here. I'm not going to hammer this too much home, but there's way too much now. He's bad. He's good. He's terrible. He's great. No. Baker's playing okay. Now, his numbers don't state that. I know he's in the bottom third of most every stat, but he's not playing terribly. And he's showing some slow growth game to game. I mean, tiny things. Yeah. Well, all that to be said, I don't think he's terrible. And I bet you by the end of the year, Baker will be good. I really believe that. I'm not just saying that. I really believe that. All that to be said, Ryan really hammered him home. He wasn't the only guy. You can pick out the guys. It's the Colin Cowards. All those guys really piled on this week. Baker, I was really proud of what he said. It's whatever. And that's right. It is whatever. In the wise words of Coach Freddie Kitchens, quote, if you don't wear brown and orange, you don't matter. Rex Ryan doesn't have any of these colors right now for a reason, so that's okay.
Right.
And quote. The one thing I would
dig at the end.
I do too. I'll let you take this baton if you want, but the one thing I just want to say is don't get hooked, Browns fans, into this stuff. Don't get hooked into we're great, we're bad, we're terrible. Right now, the Browns are more in the middle than what you think. If I'm being truthful.
Yeah,
it's more in the middle than
what we're dealing with is getting over the fact that we were hyped coming into the season.
Yes.
And we were brought back to earth quickly, and now we want to get back to where we think we should be. That's all.
Gosh. And the Browns did this to themselves.
It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be. This is look. I got caught up in it, Andy. I got caught up in it. I knew that the possibility of them falling on their faces was there. I did not feel that way. They were going to be okay, especially because I thought they looked fine in preseason. Again, though, whoop the hell? It's preseason.
Oh my God! Yeah, can we stop analyzing preseason?
That shit means at this nothing. Point. Well, this is Andy. This team. This is what it's going to take time. That's just the bottom line. It's going to take time for them to get to where they want to be. And as long as that I just need the improvements, man. They held their own against the NFC champs from last year. And again, that goes. It's not like they didn't look like they belonged on the field with them, right? They didn't look the Jets. They didn't look like the Browns of old. In regard to the overall product. So
they did the bare minimum things. And I don't mean that to really shit on them. They didn't. They did the bare minimum things. Don't get embarrassed. You played hard. Kept yourselves in the game.
Right.
And by the way,
not giving up.
They're not giving up. And by the way, that's fine. But that's why I'm not saying it's a good loss. But I'm also not saying the Browns are terrible.
Right.
What I'm saying is you're seeing some things. And again, I really liked how Landry said after the game, we're going to pick ourselves up and we're going to figure this shit out. I do like that. We are going to be a great team by the end of the year. And I do believe in some of that, what he's saying. And the schedule plays out that way too. Now, the one thing that we touched upon that Monken hit on Thursday was more Beckham. And to take some quotes from Monken in his press conference, teams are aware when you have a dynamic receiver. We had Mike Evans in Tampa. Teams are aware of their skill sets. They're going to scheme towards that and either hint at a safety or a cloud, double team basically a particular player. At times you have to move them around to get them open. And even when they cloud, that allows you to get them the ball. There are more times than what you think where he is singled up. You have to find ways to get him the ball. And he said some other stuff, but that's the big thing.
Is he going rogue with those comments?
He is, but I like it because he's right. You have superstars. Use them. Start attacking like we did last year. Attack. Get aggressive. And yes, some of this is on 6. Baker needs to be aggressive. He needs to feel confident. It's a big deal. I want to see that Baker Mayfield we saw in the 2 Bengals wins. Even in the Chiefs loss, I love that Baker. Right now, what we saw is a lot of the Baker we saw him getting sacked a lot against Pittsburgh. That's the Baker we're seeing right now. Need another Baker. And I think Monken's right. And again, he's not taking a shot at Baker. But what he is doing is saying, hey, it's not all on me. Players have got to make plays too. And he's right. I thought that was a fair jab. That's how I'll put it. I thought that was a fair jab.
For me, this, I know we've talked about it. I'm not gonna throw in the towel. But this game's huge Sunday.
Well, that goes my next point I put on the rundown.
This game is huge.
Sense of urgency. This is a quick fix game.
It really is.
If you win this game, you're 2-2. The Steelers and the Bengals are 0-3. So you're not going to have them tying with you guys for anything. And you have a half game lead because you've just beat the Baltimore Ravens on the road. Everything goes back to normal.
God.
If you lose, I don't think the season's over. And I don't think it's a crossroads game, as some have alluded to. I don't think that.
No, it's just
I think
annoying.
You can still catch up.
It's another thorn. It's another what the fuck moment.
It's another trench hole. But what's nice about this game, it's a quick fix. You beat the Ravens, all that other stuff we just talked about kind of goes away.
It does.
Not all of it, but some of it kind of goes away. That's how big this game is.
I'll take an ugly win. I don't care.
Hey, who gives a fuck? Win the game.
I don't care.
The injury update as of Friday hit Denzel Ward. Sounds like he's out. Greedy Williams sounds like he's out again. So you're going to see all the same guys in secondary. Just Burnett's also out. And usually when guys don't practice on Friday, it's usually general rule of thumb. They don't play on Sunday. So you guys decide all those guys are out. But I thought all that to be said is that we saw what we saw during the Rams game. So, yeah, the Ravens might be able to attack, and we'll get that to in a second. The big one to me, though, still is Higgins.
What has he got, bursitis? Like, what the hell is the issue with his knee?
The latest thing today, he didn't practice on Thursday either. This is from Grossi, quote, it's taking a little bit longer than I thought, end quote, from Higgins. I don't know why, honestly, end quote. It's hard to watch right now. It's hard to watch, Higgins says.
Oh.
Boy, I'll tell you, I think, we have not talked about this enough. This Callaway-Higgins combo that we loved last year. And Higgins missed 4 games in the middle. And by the way, that's when the Browns really struggled last year. People forget. That's when the Browns really started turning downward with Hugh Jackson. And here we are. No Higgins. Hasn't been smooth. I don't think that's a weird coincidence.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
I don't think it's a weird coincidence. And I'll tell you what.
Having them out there turns this wide receiver core into one of the best in the league, period.
And hey, I didn't want him on the team, and I still don't feel that way, but he's on the team, so I got to take him. Kareem Hunt is going to be big in the second half of the season.
Yes.
He is going to be a big role on this team. Because as of right now, look, let's just say it. I can't even name you some of the tight ends on the Browns.
Was the hope that you could get away with limiting Chubb's carries because of the fact that he's the only guy back there and they're stuck with it right now? Was that the hope, maybe? Was the hope that they could get away with the air raid? Was it the hope that
I don't know.
But it goes to hell when you don't have Higgins and Callaway out there.
Here's the one thing that bothers me, and we talked about this during the podcast over the summer. I did not like Hilliard. Hilliard did not impress me at all. I saw things from Johnson at times,
he put the ball on the ground a few times too, didn't he?
But Hilliard just doesn't look like he just doesn't look like a pro running back. Doesn't move quickly, fumbles the ball. I mean, I don't know. That's why I was surprised when he was recovering kicks. I'm like, we're putting Hilliard back to catch kicks? Jeez. Johnson had more of like a pro backup running back, you could see theme, but I think one of those guys, I will say, he's on the roster. Both of them are. You got to start playing one of those guys. You got to start getting them in the game. You have to. On the other side of the ball for the Ravens, they look good against the Chiefs. I watched most of that game. Harbaugh and, Greg Roman came over. For people who forget, Roman used to be the offensive coordinator for the Niners when Jim, John's brother, which we'll get to in a minute with the Michigan Wolverines.
I don't care. Both Harbaughs lost over the weekend, and that made life better.
Yes.
And the Steelers.
And the Steelers. So the big thing, though, is Greg Roman's done a nice job, and so has John Harbaugh, of developing Lamar Jackson. Jared and I don't believe Lamar Jackson's long-term.
I'm not.
All that to be said, I'm not either. But I will say, I got to be observant. Lamar's playing well.
He is.
He's doing a nice job on the field.
Pissing me off.
It is too. But you know what? He's doing good things. As Demarius Randall said, quote, definitely one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks that I've seen since Michael Vick. And I agree with Demarius. I thought he looked really good against the Chiefs. Playing like Madden, Steve Wilkes said. This guy is extremely dynamic, can make plays when you don't think plays would be made. Right now, Lamar Jackson is playing with a lot of confidence. That is not a good thing going in this game. They did lose to the Chiefs, but he played well. He kept the Ravens in the game. He brought them back. The other big thing is, which I will get into now, is Mark Ingram. Ingram has found a second breath here. He is really running the ball well for the Ravens. This is a run. This is one of the few teams that Browns will play all year, run first, pass second teams. They love to run. They love to hit you hard. And then passing, they pass a lot. Don't get me wrong, but they are run first, pass second team. And it's a very unusual thing. And I will say,
well, that plays to our strengths at this point.
By the way, that's right. The Browns so far have done a nice job against the run. So hopefully they can keep that up. This is a good test for this run defense. And so far they've done a nice job. Ogunjobi, Richardson. They didn't let Bell get going.
I think being able to contain Lamar in the pocket too, and working weak side is gonna help, because chasing him around is just gonna drive us up a wall.
I think the big thing in this game is don't allow Mark Ingram to take over the game. I would take Ingram out and really let Lamar Jackson handle everything. Because Jared, that's when I think you see the Lamar Jackson we saw last year against the Chargers. Let Lamar Jackson try to win the game. But if you allow Mark Ingram to get comfortable and allow him to get 80 to 100 yards, I think the Browns are in trouble.
Yeah.
I think Ingram's a big thing in this game. The one thing that's been hinted at all week, which I've been reading a lot, which is very weird, the Ravens defense is susceptible to plays. They got beaten down the field even by the Cardinals, and they certainly got whipped by Mahomes and the Chiefs. They had a hard time stopping. I mean, that was the one thing that I kept saying to myself, my gosh, this is not the Ravens I am used to, which thankful is good. They have a hard time stopping.
We knew in the offseason that this was happening. Yeah. They were
Mosley being out is a big loss.
Yeah.
Mosley being out's a big loss. You can see it. It's a big loss. So the Browns do have an opportunity to play well. I think this is a quick fix game.
Yep.
You win this game, you take a lot of pressure off yourselves. Don't you think?
You give me the incentive of wanting to actually do a show.
Well,
yes. No, it changes everything. 500 ball. Are you kidding me? Listen, man, I'll take 500 ball after 4 games. I'll take that. I'll take that, especially with the way that this schedule lays out. Stealing one from the Ravens,
huge.
Possibly trying to take one. Like, if you can get 2 more, if you could, oh boy, I'm going to get greedy if they win this game. I'll tell you that. I'll get greedy if they can win this game, and then I think they can. I think they can beat the Niners
and the Seahawks after that.
Boy, I don't know what you do with the Patriots.
The Browns right now are really one game at a time.
They really are. They really are. Yes,
it's really hard
to look at it.
It's really hard to do the schedule game. I was thinking about doing that for you and I, but I would have an impossible time doing that. I don't have a read
on them right now. And on top of that, with the way that the injuries are, they're going to be different in 2 or 3 weeks. Right?
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be a whole different team.
So to help us get a read on the team, let's bring in Hayden Grove.
Joining us, Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer, and on Twitter at @H_Grove. Even on my second take, I'm screwing it up. H_Grove on Twitter. Follow him. He's got all the info you're ever going to need on Cleveland sports. Hayden, what's up, man? How you been?
I'm good. Heading your way out to Baltimore, Maryland for this Browns Indians extravaganza this weekend in the DMV.
Yeah, Ratbird City and Nats Park. I'll be down there on Sunday for that last Indians game. I was excited about going 3 days ago, and I'm not as excited now. But I was debating: do I get tickets to go to that Browns game,
right,
or do I go? I got to go, though. I got a buddy. We're going to be in a suite. I'm going to be spoiled. It's going to be nice. Watch Clevenger throw the last game of the year, whatever. There's no complaints.
Yeah.
Either way.
I'm going on Saturday. I'll be there on Saturday. So I'm going to hit the Indians Saturday, and then we'll obviously cover the Browns on Sunday in Baltimore. So I'm going to be at both. I'm with you. I was a little more excited. I mean, not so much because I'm more objective. I don't really care if they win or lose, but I think it would have been a cool atmosphere if the Indians were trying to really, if they were like in it and, it's a must win or whatever. And, it's still going to be a must win, but come tomorrow, they might just be already out of it if they lose tonight. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'll talk to you offline about this because I live right in between D.C. and Baltimore. I've got food recommendations, drink recommendations. I'll hook you up on your Saturday night and have you set so you can have a good time.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's jump into this thing with the Browns. I know today we found out basically injuries and what the Browns are looking forward to coming into this Sunday game. Greedy Williams, that secondary still kind of beat up. Greedy Williams, Ward still questionable. Higgins still dealing with some stuff, and a couple more. I think there was one who's listed as out for sure, and I don't remember who that was right now. Do you, Hayden?
Kendall Lamb, yeah. Lamb
there we go. Makes sense. Cool.
Well, let's get right into it, though. 0-2 at home. Tough loss against the Rams. Offense stuttering all over the place. It's Captain Obvious, right, Mr. Grove? I mean, what has been the reaction? Let's start off with the big two. Baker and Freddie. We don't live in the area. You do. You're spending a lot of time with them. Are you starting to feel that they might be getting a little anxious, a little maybe not nervous, but a little? Do you feel like they might be pressing a bit with Freddie and with Baker?
I don't believe Baker is pressing at all. I think that Baker is very confident in his abilities. Obviously, he hasn't played the best 3 games to start this year, but I don't think Baker is pressing in the least. And I think that Freddie is kind of learning to navigate the media landscape. Like, I think inside the building, he's fine. I think inside the building, when he's talking to his guys, he's the same old Freddie. But I think when it comes to the media, he's trying to defend his guys and trying to, just make it seem like, it's hard for him to navigate. And it's very apparent that it's hard for him to navigate. But I think he's trying his best. I mean, at the beginning, he was all laughs and jokes. And, now he's kind of starting to get a little serious. And, which is fair. I think that's fair. Yep. I don't think every coach should be expected to, every rookie coach should be expected to be perfect with the media from day one. But I think he is pressing in the media a little bit. But I don't believe he's pressing inside the building. I think, I think these guys are very confident in who they are. They had a tough game against the Rams. It's a fact of the matter. We saw that clip from the All-22 that maybe it wasn't so much Freddie's play call and it was an audible from Baker on that 4th and 9.
You just took my question away, Andy, or Hayden. You stole my question because that's what I was just going to ask is, apparently Freddie was on the sidelines, kind of threw his arms up in the air when that happened, when that draw play happened on 4th and 9. Freddie did not throw Baker under the bus on that.
No, and I think that's what you're going to get with Freddie Kitchens. I think, Freddie said it best in the post-game. I mean, post-game press conference, he kind of, I don't know if he lit me up, but I asked him, I said, what have you learned? And he kind of went into this big diatribe about, don't make excuses for me. Don't, yes, I'm learning, but I got to do my job better. And I was, he didn't come at me. He was just frustrated with the loss. But he said it himself. He said, I can handle it. Blame me. Write in the papers. Blame it. It's my fault. Don't blame these guys. They fought their butts off. And I think that's just another instance of Freddie kind of being there for his players. I think that's what you're going to get with Freddie Kitchens, is a guy who's going to fight tooth and nail for his guys and protect them as much as he can because they're going to fight tooth and nail for him. So I think it's kind of a two-way street. And I do believe that probably Freddie did cover for Baker in that circumstance.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I think, and I watched that exchange. I didn't realize you were the one asking the question. So, but let me ask this then. If he wants to take the blame, okay. If this was a year ago and this was Hugh Jackson, you would be, I think you'd be hearing a lot more outrage from fans and whatnot. This team has the most penalties in the league. This team has not been sharp on offense. On defense, we've seen improvement. They did a nice job against the Rams. They did a nice job against the Jets. So is it fair to say, though, Hayden, look, it's early. We're not even into October. But is it fair to start asking, where are the Browns on with the hype train on paper that really hasn't shown up so far in 3 games, especially on offense? Is that fair to put all on Kitchens?
No, I don't think it's fair to put all on Kitchens, but I do believe that, Freddie's going to take some criticism and some heat, as he should. I mean, I think the thing with Hugh Jackson was that he came in as the self-proclaimed quarterback guru, this guy who knows how to coach football. He spent 1 year as a head coach. He was 8-8, and he got the raw deal in Houston or in Oakland, and now he's ready. Now this is his time, and he went 1-31. I mean, I think that some of those teams are more talented than 1-31. So
no, that was the issue. The issue wasn't Hugh. The issue was that those Browns teams didn't give him any talent. Don't you remember, Hayden?
Well, yeah, that was the narrative, right? And I don't think they were talented, but I think they were talented enough to win more than 1 game in 2 years. That's my point.
Oh, right.
But with Freddie, I mean, I don't think Freddie has ever once said that he's, going to be the greatest head coach. I think he's been very honest and very collaborative, saying, listen, I'm confident in my abilities, but I also need to, learn these things and to get better. And I'm going to learn through experience. And I think he's been very much a team player. I don't think he's kind of been my way or the highway. And, maybe that's what's hurting them right now, is that Freddie kind of hasn't put his foot down in certain situations, and he's been more, focused on getting, Todd Monken's offense in there, or getting, other guys involved. I think maybe he should kind of put his foot down and say, okay, we're going to try to do it my way. And I think that'll help. But I think Freddie probably should get some of the criticism. Of course, he's the head coach. And I think the one thing that he definitely should get, criticized for is the penalties. I mean, the week 1, he didn't have him ready to play. Week 2 and week 3, he definitely had him ready to play. And I don't know. I don't know if the Browns just thought they were going to come out and trample the Titans, or if Mike Vrabel just had this game plan that, we're going to get under their skin. He didn't have him ready to play week 1. I think week 2, obviously they were more ready. And week 3, I think you've seen improvement. So if they continue to improve week by week, I think it's hard to put too much criticism on Freddie if they continue to improve.
As you go throughout and you're spending a lot of time with the team, is the confidence still high? The people still pretty high in the locker room, still pretty high from other players that you're hearing from?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I talked to Baker the other day, just kind of pulled him aside for a second. We got to know each other his rookie year, and he's been pretty good to me. So I pulled him aside, talked to him about BS, but he's very much confident in his abilities. I think that, obviously, the offense hasn't been exactly what they've wanted thus far, but when you look at Baker Mayfield, he still believes he can make every throw. He still believes he can turn it around. I don't think he thought this season was going to come without adversity, and I think you're going to see that. So Baker's fine. I think Odell knows who he is. He's not worried about it. I think the only thing Odell's worried about is, not hurting his team by getting his visor taken off or getting his shoes taken off or something like that. Jarvis Landry, very confident. Myles Garrett, very confident. The defense, very confident. I think the offensive line is a really good group. I don't think confidence is the issue here. I don't. I think that they're going to continue to be confident. And, if they continue to maintain the course, I think they're going to be just fine. It's 1-2. They have a good opportunity to take on the Ravens this week. And if they win, they're back atop the AFC North. You got a very, very favorable schedule after the Patriots game, and you got to go from there.
Hayden, when we talk about the confidence, you can clearly see that in Baker in response to the Rex Ryan comments. I still, at this point, even if I don't care. I don't ever get upset when Baker responds to guys like that in the media. He was quick about it. It was sharp. It was a nice little dig, and we moved on from there. I think it worked out perfectly. You slide over to Odell Beckham Jr. and the way that he's talked about the team, his comments about we're still trying to figure some certain things out. Has Odell, this supposed locker room cancer, according to folks in New York, has he taken on more of a leadership role over these past few games as this team has faced adversity? Because I've really been impressed with the comments that he has made throughout these past 3 games.
I think Odell is the consummate, teammate and professional, but I don't think he's the over-the-top leader Baker Mayfield has that locker room. That he's the leader of this football team. There's no doubt about it. He's got the pulse of the locker room. He's got guys on his side. He's won everybody over. And I think Odell is just, he's a leader by example. He works his butt off. He's very affable in the locker room. He enjoys his teammates. They hang out often. They talk a lot. They enjoy each other because I think they see and they respect the work that Odell puts in. I don't think Odell is getting up and making halftime or locker room speeches. I think Odell is focused on what he needs to do. Maybe if he does need to say something every now and then, he will. But I think Baker Mayfield kind of has that vocal leadership role, to whereas Odell is just going to continue to do his job and to do it at the best of his abilities. And I just completely disagree with all the, with everything that was said in New York about him being a cancer.
He's been wonderful. He's been really good. I've been
so far.
I've been really impressed. I've been really impressed with Beckham. I really have been, on and off the field. I have been.
Yeah, and I definitely have been too. You come in and you're like, oh well. It's going to be all about him. Once you get to talk to him a little bit and see what he's about, it might be a little bit about him. It might be about him, what he wears on the field and what he does. But once you get past that stuff, there's nothing the guy does that's rubbing anybody the wrong way. He's, he likes his fashion. He likes to, put some different cleats on before the game and wear some colors and whatever. But I don't think that's taking away from the team. I don't think that's taking away from what these guys are trying to do. It's just him showing showing himself and showing who he is. And, people didn't like the watch thing, but that's just who he is. He wanted to wear the watch. He wanted to be fashionable. I don't think anybody cared even a little bit inside that locker room. So
I love
Odell has been Odell has been a pleasure to talk to from me personally, from us in the media. And obviously, people get frustrated because everything with Odell is a story. But once you get past that, I think he's been absolutely the consummate professional.
I love the watch, and I also understand what it's like. I didn't wear my watch to work today, Hayden, and it drove me up a wall. When you're used to having something on your wrist and you feel the weight of it, so I understood where he was coming from with that. It did not, it made total sense to me.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the watch. Again, it was just such a non-issue. I think the only reason it was an issue was because of how expensive it was.
Right. All right. So I got a 2-part question. Do you feel like this team is close, Hayden? Meaning like maybe it's smaller plays here and there, whether it's a 4th down mix up, like you just mentioned, whether it's a couple things here and there where the team is actually that close. Or do you see it more, they need to do some more work and it's going to get better, but there's still more work to do and it's going to be a gradual build, not an automatic flip on the switch?
I think regardless, it's going to be a gradual build. I think that's just how Freddie wants it. He wants to be better every week. And maybe there is a point in this season where this team does come together. But I do see them. I've already seen a different team every week. Last week I saw a different team than I saw against the Jets. And the Jets, obviously, I saw a very different team than I saw against the Titans. So if the Browns are a different team this Sunday, and they really, they can fix a couple things and work on maybe a play call here, a play call there, an execution here, an execution there, I don't see where there's any reason they can't win this game. I know they're 7-point underdogs, but I feel like the Ravens have played lower caliber teams, which has boosted their confidence. Which is fine. They played the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, both of whom the Browns will play.
Right.
And I think it kind of got their confidence starting high. But last week they got, humbled a little bit by the Kansas City Chiefs. And then this week, you got a Browns team with a ton of talent coming in. Yep. I don't think it's going to be a pushover game by any stretch.
No.
I think the Browns can absolutely find a way to game, and I think you're going to see a better offensive team. I think if the defense can step up and do what they did last week, I don't think there's any doubt the Browns will win. If the offense can step up and the defense can be the way that they were last week, I think the Browns can absolutely and will win this game.
What is the one guy who I don't get a vibe on at all, and I've been trying to read quotes and trying to find him more, is Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb has actually been the best player so far on offense so far for the first 3 games. And I think giving him the ball more would do great things, but that's an opinion for another day. But more on Chubb. Do you feel Chubb's presence when you're there in practice or around the locker room, Hayden? Because it feels like he's more in the background, and he is such a talented player. Do you get a vibe like he could be a better vote? Like, do you? I guess my point is, what's your vibe on Chubb? And do you think he could get the more? Do you think he wants the ball more, or is he more of like a background guy? Like, what's your vibe on him?
My vibe on Nick Chubb is just like, it's football, it's work, it's nothing else. He doesn't talk. He's an affable guy. I think that there's no doubt that he's a good teammate and guys like him. But he's not a guy that's going to talk. He's going to be to himself. He's going to work his butt off, and he's earned the respect of his teammates. And I think he's earned the respect of the NFL when you look at what he's able to do as a running back. I mean, you're right in that I think he's been the most consistent. I don't know if he's been the best because I don't think they've given him an opportunity to be the best. I don't think they've kind of worked him in enough. But I think Nick Chubb has absolutely been the most consistent and will continue to be the most consistent. Last week everybody told me, "Oh, Hayden, they need to run the ball. They need to run the ball to open up the pass." Well, I disagree. And every week is a different scenario. I think this week, yes, you want to run the ball to open up the pass, and I want Nick Chubb to get 20, 25 carries and finish with 150 yards. But last week, I think they had a really good game plan. Run that run pass option, throw the ball off the run pass option, and open up the offense with the pass first, so you don't have to run into Aaron Donald right away. You'll get Aaron Donald off of his feet, that defensive front that the Rams have. So I expect this week, I think that you're going to see more of Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is going to be a huge part of their game plan. Maybe they'll do some different things with him in terms of maybe getting him outside of the tackles, maybe, throwing him the ball a little bit. They set up a really nice screen last week. They've set up some really nice screens this season. So I think that they're going to continue to do that. And I agree with you. Nick Chubb is just, honestly, the guy eats dirt and spits nails or whatever. Just your prototypical just workhorse and a guy who could be around for the Browns for many years to come.
You talk about getting outside the tackles, Hayden, and I got to tell you, I don't know whether to be concerned with this offensive line or whether I'm over exaggerating it in my mind. I worry about the tackles. I worry about Baker looking tight every once in a while in the pocket and maybe rushing things, and maybe he doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket. You talk about getting outside the tackles. Is Baker going to, I'm so used to, I thought that Baker's found success rolling out a lot last season, and I don't see them doing that this year so far. I wonder if they're going to try to implement some more of that so that he can feel a little bit more loose. When he's doing it now, it's because he's forced out of the pocket. What are you seeing with the offensive line?
I actually think it's better than everybody has said.
Yeah,
everybody's like, "Oh, these tackles."
When you look at the time and the numbers, yeah, you're right. I've been thinking the same thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, yeah, like everybody's killing this offensive line. Oh, they're horrible. They can't. The tackles are so bad, and I think what you're seeing is Baker Mayfield, honestly, waiting for these plays to develop, waiting for Odell Beckham to get open, waiting for Jarvis Landry to get open. And I think the most successful plays last week were when he got the ball out. And I think that was what was so good about him in the first, in last year, is that he got the ball out so quickly, was able to hit his targets very quickly. And from there, got to kind of open himself up more. Guys were expecting that short pass, and when it popped open down the field, he would make time and throw it. So I think this offensive line has been a lot better than advertised. I think they've run the ball pretty well. And I think Baker's actually had decent protection. He might be seeing a couple ghosts just because he's a little perplexed as to what he's seeing on multiple occasions. I don't think the Browns have played a bad defense thus far. I mean, when you really look at it, the Titans are a very well-coached unit. They have some really good players over there. You have the Jets, who obviously Greg Williams, for as much as Cleveland might not like him right now, I think he ran a pretty good defense here. It's a little, maybe Odell was right that it's a little dirty, but I think he does with keeping those guys pretty sound. And then obviously the Rams have a ton of talent at the defensive end. So the Ravens is kind of the first team. The Ravens is kind of the first team where you're like, okay, they used to be really good. You lost C.J. Mosley. You added Earl Thomas. You lost Eric Weddle. What is this defense going to be? And I think that maybe, just maybe, the Browns could take advantage of that.
Hayden, what the hell is going on with Lamar Jackson and this idea that he is turning into the quarterback that people were hoping he would? I'm still reserving judgment. And what are the Browns going to do to stop him this Sunday? Is he really this good right now? I mean, we talk about them playing the Dolphins, but what are we really at a point where we can claim that he's going to be that guy in Baltimore?
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, I think all the Browns have to do realistically, and maybe I'll eat my words on this, but I really think that all they need to do is make him throw the football. Just make him throw it.
I agree. Yes.
If you let him run, he's going to eat you alive. Make him throw it. Make him throw it. Rush 4. Let your front 4 get to him, but otherwise make him throw it.
And that's all they need to do.
Make him find the holes in the defense. I wouldn't go blitz crazy because then you miss a tackle and he's gone. I would. Of course, Steve Wilkes is going to blitz when he feels like the time is right. I would continue to do some of the things, cornerback blitzes, safety blitzes, just things to throw him off. But I would make him throw the football. Make him, make his receivers kind of beat your corners and your safeties, and I think it's going to show a world of difference. I really do.
Well, I think weak side, he's still vulnerable, even though he's mobile. That's what I remember, at least from last season.
And I think I'm not going to say he's a great. I think he's good. I think even if
he's improved,
he'll be okay.
He's improved.
I think he can make some throws. Yeah, I think he can make some throws, but I don't think he's going to be the one to throw for 500 or 450 yards on 50 attempts and beat you. I just don't see that happening.
Here's the one thing I noticed about, because I watched a lot of the Chiefs game. He has improved, and he is playing more confidently. Last year, I thought it was more like a wild horse where he's just doing different things on the field, and you could see his athletic ability take over.
Some of it. I mean, he did make a couple of lucky, crazy throws across the field. This is.
But Wilkes made a fair comparison, and I hate to say it, but it did remind me of that, because you don't want to compare someone like this talented. It did remind me of Vic. He made Vic-like plays on the field on Sunday. I mean, that one throw, that was a nice dime. Running out of pocket, doing things. He just has that escapability. Anyways, not to steal the thunder, but all right, all that to be said, Hayden, if you're in Vegas, who do you like on Sunday, Browns or Ravens? Right?
So I'm going to pick. Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of funny. I mean, I still have a belief in this Browns team. I do. I think that they have a great chance of winning this Sunday, but I've picked the Browns the first 3 weeks. I'm 1-2. The Ravens are at home. They played really well. I'm going to pick the Ravens in the paper, but I think the Browns definitely cover, and I would not be shocked in the least if they won. I think that, Baltimore is, like I said, I think they're kind of a paper tiger, kind of a, what do you call it? A show pony thus far, where they played some very low trodden teams, and they've, when they played the Chiefs, they got beat. So I don't know if the Browns are on the Chiefs level. Maybe their defense is, but I'm going to say the Ravens win a very close game in the paper, but here I'll say the Browns win.
We'll accept it, Aiden. We'll accept it. All right.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm going to be right in either. I'm going to be wrong in either, or right in one, wrong in the other. Either way. So
yeah, 6 and 1/2 doesn't.
It's too close for me right now.
I totally get it. Yeah, I know. And later in the show, Andy and I will give our takes as well. Our bets where we're seeing this thing going. Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer at @H_Grove on Twitter. Follow him. Hayden, as always, brother, thank you. And by the way, do not forget, folks, find Hayden Grove's new album on iTunes. Check it out now. Legit. The Standards, done Hayden's way. You got to listen to it. I promise. It's Hayden, you did one hell of a job on that album, brother.
That means a lot, man. Thank you. I just actually, I'm sending some of them today out and about to people around Northeast Ohio, so I got to put them in the mail. But yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Hayden. Sounds like he's going to have a wonderful weekend in Baltimore and D.C. Hopefully my partner and him will get a chance to get together. So he made his prediction, so now it's time to make ours, and we'll get into the NFL. I have really had, when I came into the season, I was very confident that the Browns had finally figured some things out. I was very confident that the Browns were not going to make similar mistakes. And as I quoted myself in the Ringer, I will be face planting myself if this season goes awry. I'm not there yet, but I am face planting a little bit right now. I hope I'm wrong. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I think the Ravens right now are playing better than the Browns. I think the Browns right now still are trying to fight themselves a little bit on rhythm on offense, those things we talked about. I do think the Browns defense, though, plays well to what the Ravens do on offense. But, Jared, I just have not seen enough from the Browns to think that this light switch is going to come on. If the Browns weren't making penalties and they weren't so sloppy, I would take the Browns, but with that in mind, I won't. I think the Ravens win 20-17. I think it'll be low scoring, but even with that said, I don't think the Browns score more than 17 points.
24-13 Browns.
There we go.
Browns
Thank
get a bunch
God.
of takeaways.
There we go. I hope you're right.
And frustrate the hell out of Lamar Jackson.
Well, that would make for a better podcast instead of us groaning and grumbling throughout. Last week, the big stories were Daniel Jones with this big first win for the Giants. Bill, by the way, how about the Bills and Lions 3-0 and 2-1? Who had that?
Crazy.
God, that's amazing.
Bills Mafia. Happy right now.
Yes, I follow a couple of those people. Stephanie's one of them. I don't know Stephanie's last name, but she's a huge Bills Mafia fan. This slate of games is
throw
kind
a random girl's name out there.
Stephanie, I'll get her. I'll get her Twitter. That's a good point.
Stephanie, is she in media? Who is this girl? Who's
she? Is in media. She is in media. She's one of those Twitter followers that followed me, so I followed her back. I think we all do that on Twitter, right?
Yes. All right,
So
gotcha.
that's definitely
She's one of those Bills Mafia Twitter.
Oh, no doubt. She's probably got tattooed somewhere. She's from Boston, by the way, which is interesting why she's a Bills fan.
Okay.
But all that to be said, the Cowboys Saints is interesting. By the way, great job, Teddy Bridgewater. They dominated that game from the start. That was a great win for the Saints. We kind of, boy, I'll tell you what. There's no chance in hell I'm watching Monday Night Football this week. Bengals at Steelers.
Bro.
I love my own employer. What the fuck happened? Bengals Steelers Monday night. Woo.
I would say that even if Benjamin were playing, that's still not a game I care about.
No. I have not done well with my picks. I will make picks for both the NFL and college football again. The one other thing I do want to bring up, it's same in college football. These matchups, I mean, if you really want the big matchup, it's Chiefs at Detroit. Does that get anybody fired up? Doesn't get me fired up. Patriots at Bills. If you buy into the Bills, that's a big game. Both teams are 3-0 in Buffalo, 1:00. I mean, if you want to flip over to a different game on commercials, that'd probably be my game I'd flip over to.
Well, hey, briefly, because there's just this one sore thumb thing sticking out at me, reminding me of that game last night, of the Thursday night game. I don't think the NFL is doing a very good job of getting fans to back off the refs.
Yeah,
I'm glad they need to really fix this shit.
Yeah, it's across
because fans are looking for it. They're expecting to get shit on at this point.
Yeah. I don't want to take over the podcast of this theory, but it's in baseball, it's in basketball, and it's in
really
football.
Bad. It's getting really bad.
And I've been telling my sons, I've been telling other people, hey, we gotta start moving forward. At some point, you're gonna get a couple back calls.
Not
you just gotta get
these obvious ones, wasting timeouts because it's just bad. It's bad.
It's sloppy. And again, the NFL gets a lot more of it because they do replays and their television angles, and football's made for television. So
they're still not making the right calls, Andy.
No, they aren't. But I'm tired of the referee debate. It happens. We said
then the NFL needs to do something about it and clean it up.
NCAA
not doing a good job of cleaning this up.
By the way, what was the big talk of the Final Four? Auburn, Virginia, the referees. What was the big talk? What was the big talk in baseball last year? Astros series, umpires. What's the big talk? It's across sports. It's across sports. I don't know what to say anymore. It's not like, that's why I laugh. I'm like, the NFL referees are the worst. We just said that about the other sports. It's like a disease.
Well, I'm not saying anything about worse, but I am going to say that the NFL has a large enough audience that they really should hone in on this a little bit.
I hear you.
Get it cleaned up.
I will say I'll leave on this note. The NFL needs to, and to Jared's point, because it is the most TV friendly sport, and it's the easiest sport to take a look at plays. In basketball, there's a rhythm. In baseball, you don't really pitch to pitch. Sometimes you don't have enough time to analyze what's going on in the game. In football, there's a clock, so you always usually have time unless there's a hurry up offense situation. That's usually the only time. But even then, there's a dead ball period where they'll go back and look at plays.
Yeah. That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
You're right.
Say anything else? Just clean that shit up, please.
By the way, you're right. But I don't want this to become a blame the refs losing sports.
Hey, well, when you got a primetime game with eyes across the country on it, and you can't get your PIs called correctly, this is what you're gonna get.
Fair.
And you're leaving off of an NFC Championship game.
Fair.
From last season that has left that has gotten it's gotten everyone's eyes on it even more.
Two more things. Pay the referees more and give them more protection. That's what I want. Pay them more and give them more protection. What I mean by that is allow them to feel safe so people will want those jobs and then pay them more. I think that would go a long way. I really do, Jared. They need to, if they're going to get scrutinized like these players do, referees need to get paid more. Why ruin your life?
And what do you mean? I don't know what you mean by protect them more.
What I mean by that is like if you're like some of these referees you can tell are scared for their lives to make a call in some of these games. At least I feel that way.
Really?
I feel like there's a times where
I don't know. I guess
I feel that way. That's my observation. Mm-hmm. But there's too many times where it's like, hey, someone from these leagues have got to step up and be like, hey, these are our umpires, these are our referees. We're sticking by their decisions. You never get that vibe from any of the leagues or the NCAA. You never do.
Well, no, that's because we live in this reactive culture where.
Well, but that's protection.
That's how things are traded. They protect the shield over anything else.
I hear you. But that's my point. So you asked me about protection. That's the protection I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Give these guys some protection.
Yep.
Give these guys some protection so they don't feel like they're going to get hammered afterwards.
Yeah.
Speaking about getting hammered, the Indians.
Oh, God.
Well, if we would have done a podcast on Monday, we would have been zippeting doodah. Oh, my God, after Tuesday. What is wonderful. The Indians have had really a lot of wonderful moments. Bieber, all-star MVP. Cookie Carrasco, his mound comeback. Jose Ramirez on Tuesday was another one. Just a tremendous moment. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, a grand slam.
Yeah, and then Wednesday, hitting another one.
Sadly, on Wednesday is where everything unraveled.
Didn't he hit a home run on Wednesday, too? I'm sorry.
I think he did.
He did in the NFL. Yeah, I got you. All
right. So going into Wednesday, half game behind, but even in the loss column, and, this is not a log segment. I don't know how much there is to break down, and we will recap the Tribe no matter when their season ends, once it's done. But let's just get to the hammer and nails. Shane Bieber, who we love, who is our MVP, didn't pitch great, and really got compounded by Carlos Santana. Just airmailing a ball. I don't know. Santana's had such a wonderful year, so I'm not going to pile on. But, boy, that was a terrible throw in that spot. Really, 3-0. It felt like, Jared, from that moment on, the White Sox were in control of the whole series. It felt like that throw was the deflating moment, not just for that game, but for the season for the Tribe.
Yeah.
Oliver Perez and Clippard, who both did well, really had bad moments on the mound. It's a shame because Perez and Clippard played so well this year, but they were no help. And I got to be honest with you, for how much we love them, Frankie really had big at-bats, it felt like, on Wednesday and never got the big hit. You got to be honest. He never got that hit, Jared, you're hoping for a guy like Frankie and his reputation.
No, you're right. But I got to tell you, the pitching issues in that bullpen just highlight one of the biggest problems that we had throughout the season, which is the way that bullpen has, they pissed away wins for this team. They although at the same time, so has a lack of offense at plenty of times. But God damn it, though, Andy, this team has been so good. As much as I want to beat them up, they have been so good through more adversity. I've never seen a team go through more adversity be this good.
Very fair. And we're going to talk about that.
And really, at the end of the day, because the all likelihood is they're not going to get into the postseason here.
It's going to take a lot.
You're talking about a team that's going to win 94, 95, 96 games, right? And not get into the postseason. So I've seen enough of this bitching and pissing and moaning. I heard enough of the get rid of Tito's. I've seen enough of the don't bother re-signing Lindor. He can't hit with men in scoring position.
That's silly too.
I've seen so much of this shit. The bottom line is this team, in a sense, overachieved by being able to get over the loss of some of their best bats, the attrition in the outfield.
Yep. Very fair.
And I've said this before, the owner getting in the way before the season even started.
Very fair too.
And some guys have stepped up more than we ever expected them to. Luplows.
Franmil Reyes. Having a huge year at the end of the year. I know he's not going to be in the team. Oscar Mercado's big year. I'll tell you the truth. Perez.
That's who I'm focused on, because he's probably the best example of that.
Yeah, really played well.
We shit on him.
Hey,
we never thought.
Hey, look, we were wrong. And by the way, never been more happy or been wrong. By the way, Jan who? I don't know what's going on with Young Guns. But all that to be said, that's for the next podcast. And everything Jared said is right. If you want to talk about Fry and Francona, you're going to find different podcasts.
Oh, Jesus, please.
If you're going to talk about how Frankie Lindor sucks, find different podcasts.
I mean, just
stop. Now, did Frankie have a bad 2 games in Chicago? Oh, my God. Yes, he did.
Terrible.
Did Santana finally have a moment where he had a bad series? Yeah, he did. Lindor and Santana on Friday, 1 for 30 in their last 30 at bats. 1 hit combined. The Indians can't survive that because of what Jared just said. Their depletion, you had to rely on those guys. Finally, Santana, he did not play like he did all year, and it's expected. Santana played above water all year. So to think he can keep that going is kind of unrealistic. The other thing on Thursday that I really took a note, that was just a blowout. Savali finally had a bad start. He didn't pitch well. Really it was weird. He had a no-hitter, but didn't feel like a no-hitter. He was really having a hard time getting to a groove in that game. And then again, and we talked about this last year with Bauer and, Carlos Carrasco, God bless him, trying to come out as a reliever is not like coming out as a starter. He had a rough outing on Thursday. It's just not the same. It'll be nice having Carrasco. Think about this next year, folks. Next year, for all you Indian fans out there, boys and girls, Carrasco, Bieber, Clevenger, Savali, Plesac.
Yeah.
And all of them pitched a good majority of the year.
Yeah.
You're starting pitching. I didn't mention Kluber.
Kluber, that's 16 strikeouts this season, or 16 shutouts this season.
They have by far, and here's the biggest stat of them all. Runs scored, the Indians by far are going to win that stat again this year. In baseball, the Indians pitching staff's been unbelievable this year.
For the past 3 years.
Past 3 years is right. And here's the other big things too. By the way, I know it's best in the AL. I shouldn't have said baseball. The runs scored are best in AL. I think it's baseball too, but I know it's the AL. The Indians are by far going to win that in the AL.
Yeah.
Here's the other things to remember too. Franmil, now you got a true DH. Remember this year we had Bowers in DH? Well, that's not happening. Now you got Franmil. Now you got Luplow coming in and playing for a righty, for a lefty pitcher. And you're going to have Oscar Mercado. You're going to have Bradley Zimmer, which we'll have to see how Bradley does. And then from everything we're hearing, probably Daniel Johnson. You're going to have a young, talented, athletic outfield. Throw in Tyler Naquin, you have a solid outfield.
We'll throw in, let's go ahead and do this real quick. 3 years, 10 mil. 3 years, 12 mil. 3 years, 13 mil. 4 years?
For Puig?
10 mil, 12, yeah.
I would not sign Puig.
You don't think it's a possibility?
Indians have too many outfielders now who are ready to come up. The biggest thing I saw in the Indians this year, And it's debatable too. See, the Indians next year are kind of set up to, again, this has been my whole theme. They are set up to win next year.
They really are. You've said
because
it. You've said it since before the season started.
Yu Chang playing third, like it. Lindor shortstop. Jose second. Carlos first. Your DH is Franmil Reyes. Perez, your catcher. Folks, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You're going to have to add some relievers. That's where I'd spend my money.
That's where the money's got to go. And they've cleared enough off the books that there's no way that they're going to, no way that they should have trouble.
Yes. Now to Jared's
bullpen with some length in the bullpen.
Right. Now to Jared's point, if they don't think Daniel Johnson or Bradley Zimmer can play next year.
Well, it's a health issue too, Andy.
That's my point. That's why I said Zimmer too, because we haven't seen Zimmer play in 2 years. If you don't think, then Puig needs to be brought up. Puig needs to be brought up. But if you think Daniel Johnson's going to play, you know Oscar Mercado's going to play. You know you're going to have Naquin and Luplow.
I just think there's something to be said about guys who want to be there, and there's something that tells me he wants to be with this team.
Yeah, we'll see. You might be right. By the way, too, we have not mentioned him, but I think Bobby Brantley is going to have some moments, too. Bradley.
God, would I love to see him come up and hit more than a fastball.
Rake. The Indians have the parts. And they've been battle tested. Savali pitched throughout the whole year. Plesac pitched throughout the whole year. Cookie, no explanation needed. Bieber had a big sophomore year. Clevenger, ready to win Cy Youngs. This team is ready to rock and roll next year. The big questions, are they going to pick up the player option for Corey Kluber? We'll find out. Are they going to try to re-sign Puig? We'll find out. Is Daniel Johnson ready to play? Is Bradley Zimmer going to play all year next year?
What I can say is none of these things that we're talking about make me worry about next year.
Next year is exciting.
Isn't that nice?
Next year is exciting. The Indians
remember last year, the way we were leaving.
Oh my God.
We knew.
Deck shuffle.
We knew, oh shit, what is this team going to look like on opening day? And man, it was worse than we expected.
Deck shuffle. Complete deck shuffle. By the way, no more Kipnis next year.
We were talking about convincing ourselves it wasn't a complete rebuild, which it wasn't. But there were folks out there that were fighting about it being a rebuild. It was a retooling.
It was a retooling. It was a retooling. We will get Mandy Bell on once the season ends and get it live and break it down. But you know what? Well, I want to do more of that next week. Here's the last thing I'll say about this whole thing. You know, if you want to make the playoffs, losing 11 times to the White Sox is not going to cut it. And the Indians lost 11 times to the White Sox. And frankly, it could have been 12 or 13. A couple of those wins were miracle one-run games where it felt like the White Sox were on the doorstep of winning those games. Yeah. For whatever reason this year, the Indians could not beat the White Sox. It's rare. It doesn't happen much. In fact, Francona has owned the White Sox in the last few years. I forget his record coming in this year, but it was so strong. By far, the White Sox were the one team he always hammered, and boy, not this year. It just never equated to stuff. Strange thing, it happens, but for people who want to circle, maybe one thing that's kind of off the radar, you can't lose 11 times to the White Sox. Can't. If you win 3 of those games, you're got a game lead. The Indians just could not do that. And the other thing is, too, if you want a plan B, the Indians played the Rays and the A's this year. They only beat those two teams twice out of 13. That hurts.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that. There's certain teams that the Indians just couldn't beat. Couldn't ball with.
And the two teams that are going to probably get in, and the White Sox were 3 of those teams. They just could not figure them out. They won the season series against the Yankees.
Yeah.
They split against the Red Sox.
Yeah.
They won the season series against the Twins. They swept the Angels 6. They actually hung in there with the Astros. I think they were 3 out of 4. They did a nice job there.
And they played the Astros in a time where that team was not all together either, I don't think.
No. But, well, I'll just say this, though. The Indians were ready. But again, the Rays, A's, and White Sox, they just, for whatever reason, those teams are going to be the bugaboo of 19. We'll have to see what happens. Miracles do happen. Bases loaded now. Boy, Nick Goody, who's had not terrible, he's had a rough he's had a rough 6 weeks here, and he's got the bases loaded here. And the Rays are up 3-0 on the Jays, and the Jays are showing no life. So I will get to my under-over trophy celebration here next week. For those of you who aren't counting, go to our blog. I went 6 for 6. Even the Brewers got hot. Don't look at my NFL over-unders. Just focus on baseball. 6 for 6.
Congratulations, Andy.
I didn't win any money, but God damn it, I wish I put money on it.
Put money on it.
I don't have money to put on gambling.
All right, never mind.
But I will next
Don't
year.
gamble.
Speaking of gambling, college football, let's wrap this thing up. I could do a whole podcast in the Irish-Georgia game. In fact, I might even try to save that for a different day.
Yeah.
Because this was a oh my God, Mr. Buckeye. Look, the Irish.
I think our audience is probably mostly Buckeyes too.
I'm not saying they're not. But you Irish fans, step up put your ear and turn your headsets on as you're jogging. The Irish didn't fall flat on their face. They did a nice job of hanging around this game. The second half, they couldn't do anything in the third quarter. But the big differences in this game are the twofolds that one of them I've been saying all year, and the other one kind of surprised me. Book got outplayed by Fromm. Fromm had a wonderful game. Even though Book had better passing numbers and yardage, Fromm was much more accurate. He did a much better job. And then the bigger thing in this game, the Irish really never got the run game going as the Nationals take the lead now here it looks like it's 3-2. Yeah, 3-2.
I don't have it on. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, Nick Goody walking back there. Doing some sort of clap in Washington. The Irish, though, did a nice loss. I'm tired of these nice losses or teams I cheer for. The Irish did have a nice loss. They had a chance to win it late. I'm glad the Irish looked respectable. If the Irish win out, they're going to be in the college playoff situation. They have a very tough game next week against a good UVA team at home. The Irish have games that they can win. The Irish played fast. They played strong. They did a nice job. To Jared, to lose on the road to a number 3 team by 6 points, you got to kind of tip your cap. They did the best they can. The Irish, this game, I know some people are like, oh, the Irish, they're never going to get playoffs. I don't agree. I think the Irish, if they win out, have a very fair chance of making it. I thought I saw some things. I thought Book played better in the fourth quarter up until that final drive. Again, the big thing for the Irish, where that running game went, I am not sure. And they're going to and Book has to do a better job with accuracy. He just has to. But both the quarterbacks to cheer for, Book and Baker Mayfield, got to do a better job with accuracy. They did make it respectable. And like I said, they have a huge game with UVA. UVA is much better than people think. They're ranked. So that'll be a tough game at South Bend at 3:30. The Buckeyes rolled. Their Buckeyes get their really first test on the road against Nebraska. I know Nebraska has a loss, but I still think it's a tricky game for the Bucks. This is a light.
Nope. I don't. Nope.
Good.
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
Good.
Not seeing it, man. I'm just not.
Cocky Buckeye. Here we go.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I've seen it. I usually can get a sense for these. Oh God, I hope I don't eat my words. I have a feeling.
Here we go.
Feeling that they are. They're going to destroy
40 points.
Nebraska.
50
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. What's the spread?
I'll get it right now.
Give me one. If it's like 20, 21. Yeah, I'd still take the Bucks.
And before I get to that, Red Raiders play Sooners. That's at noon. The other game I'd keep my eye on is the Trojans and Huskies. That's at 3:30. But everything else is it's a crappy. Boy, both the NFL and college football, I did not really see anything there that really caught my eye this week. Just light weeks, which is disappointing. And then tonight, Penn State's at Maryland. And boy, Penn State has owned Maryland over the years, and they're up again 14-0. Boy, for some reason, Maryland only plays tough against Ohio State for whatever reason or another. 17 points is a spread.
God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
All right. I'm ready to pour cold water on the Buckeyes.
Go ahead. Pour it.
I think the Buckeyes win by 35.
That's fine.
I think the Buckeyes win by 35. I think Jared Watson's right. I hate to admit it. I think the Buckeyes are really fucking good.
I'm dead serious right now. This team is...
I just agreed with you, and I fucking hate it.
I know.
But the Buckeyes are really good. They are really, really good. All right. That's college football in a nutshell. Better games to come. If you get into Alabama, Ole Miss, that's on at 3:30. And all those other teams are really not playing anybody this week. It's a very, very blah week in college football. So to recap, and the Nationals are scoring, that might clear the bases. One runs in. Here go, boy. We can't catch the ball today. Boy, Perez second drop to play at home. 5-2. Nick Goody.
Oh boy.
Not Goody.
Well, this is how we're ending the show, folks. We're ending the show like this with the Indians' postseason hopes going down the drain as we finish recording.
By the way, who got the big hit? Who got the big hit? Asdrubal Cabrera.
Oh, even better.
Right down the line, off the wall. Look, here's what it comes down to. Beat the fucking Ratbirds.
Yeah.
Nick Goody pitching a whole third of an inning. Good job.
Beat the Ratbirds. Beat the Ratbirds. Get to 2-2. Allow Andy and I both to have a little bit less stress in our lives throughout next week. Andy and I think we're going to try to do a show, even if no matter what, we got to try and do something. I think Monday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know.
Monday's going to be impossible, but possible.
Excuse me, coughing.
I have as we like to call it, work a hell day on Monday. So
all right. That's all right because I'm crazy busy Monday, Tuesday. So yeah. Whatever. I'm just saying I don't do therapy Monday. So all you can get all your frustrations out by calling local Cleveland radio and bitch to Ken Carmen or Tony Rizzo. I don't care. Go do that. Get it out over there. I don't listen. I don't tune in on therapy Mondays. I got nothing. I have nothing for it. Nothing for it. I'm quiet. I don't talk about it all day.
Jared knows because he stops texting with me. I watch every second. I watch every press conference.
No, I don't. And he knows. I'm like, I don't care. I listen to what he said.
I listen to everything. I love analyzing every moment. Last thoughts. Go Irish.
You know what it's like? You know those people that cut themselves? You know the cutters? You know what I'm talking about? That's what you do after Browns loss.
I am preparing myself. I am preparing myself for victory the week after that. That's the way I look at it. I want to improve. Go Irish, beat the Cavs. Nice year for the Indians. Indians aren't going to do anything. Nice year for the Indians.
Yeah.
Again, this is a quick fix game, how I'd term it. Quick fix. The season isn't over. It's not a crossroads game to me. I know some have said that. I'm not saying it's crazy. I just don't think it's that.
All right.
But it's a quick fix game. Win that game, it could be a quick fix.
I'm shutting it down, by the way. Andy doesn't get a final word after this. He just had it. Andy and Jarid. Cleveland and Beyond is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. WaitingForNextYear.com. Check them out. Cleveland Sports Reporting original right there for you. WaitingForNextYear.com. Also follow us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond.
I love Washington State this week.
On Twitter @CLE and Beyond. At CLE
Michigan State's 14-point favorite. They're not covering that.
Shoot us an email. Andy and Jarid at
37.5 points for Bama. They're playing
Andy and Jarid at gmail.com.
He thinks I'm going to fucking shut up. I got things to say.
Check out the website, andyandjarid.com, clevelandandbeyond.net.
We didn't talk about Michigan. Wait, how great was that loss? We didn't talk about that. I'm not done. No. That's a home run. Oh my God! First pitch. Oh,
Andy.
Oh my
ADHD,
God!
Reel it in.
All right, ready. Look, we called it. Both of us looked at Michigan. We read the articles. We did our homework. We're not even Michigan fans. Overrated. For everybody who picked them in the playoffs, you didn't read any of those articles. Michigan's gonna have a hard time winning 7 games.
Fucking mess, and I love every
that is a dumpster fire.
He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson. Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and Beyond. Thanks for listening. Talk again soon. Beat the fucking Ratbirds.